They'll either have an email.
Testing. Okay, so we're playing a six-man one-up or double-up. Means three players will lose and three players will double their money, and the game will end when the third player gets knocked out. Playing for $25, which is, you know, medium stakes for this kind of internet poker. And we came in about 4 or 5 hands late, but all I got was crap, and I folded it all. So now what we want to do is just start watching the players and look for the trends. So right away we can see, and I forget the pre-flop action, which is important, but regardless, this person's leading the betting, and both these guys are following. Very strange. These guys have got to be able to figure out. One of them has got a bad hand. Unless they both have trip fours, it's most likely one of these guys is making a mistake. Okay, so yeah, so Oaza played that well, and M. Santi played it poorly, and we're gonna try to remember that. And Doc Squish got out of there. He figured out that between the other two guys that were calling his bets, he just wasn't gonna have the best hand. He slowed down, didn't put any more money in. We have to remember that too. That means that Owaza and Doc Squish are, probably decent with the information that we have so far. And M. Santi is bad. So we'll keep watching and we'll see how things go. See if we can confirm or deny those theories. So Marine714 made a very dumb bet on the flop, and he followed it by a decent bet on the turn. But the board was so polarized on the turn that it probably wasn't that good of a bet. Alright, so Ace-9, under the gun, fold. A lot of people are going to criticize that, but that's probably the best decision, honestly. We could have limped, but you're just throwing away a bet because we have bad position and we won't know any more information on our opponents after we limp. And if somebody makes a big raise like this, we'd have no reason to call. Ace-9 is just not that powerful, so we fold. No big deal. Each hand is no more or less important than the hand before it. Getting pocket aces is not any more important than getting 6-4 offsuit. It's all about the situation you're in, how you play the cards, what comes to you. So this is a pretty easy fold, but we're going to call because pot odds are so good. We might get a miracle. Okay, so not the miracle we were hoping for, but if we get a free card on the turn, we might pick up a straight draw and a flush draw. Or a flush draw, I should say. So like a jack of diamonds or a king of diamonds would be okay, but it's still nothing we want to invest any chips in. Alright, so that's an easy fold. We just don't have anything, And even with that jack coming down, our straight is just not very strong on this board, our straight draw that is, because even if we hit our straight, we lose to 10-8, 10 king. Now a 9 counterfeits us. See how bad that was? 10 jack, 10 queen, 10 9, queens, jacks. People probably don't have any of those hands. Although they might, because there was a raise pre-flop, which means that it's a more likely chance that people have better hands on average, such as those hands I listed. Easy fold. This guy has been tight the whole time. He's raising from under the gun, and of course our bad player calls. Okay, so the bad player is donk bet into the tight player. We'll see if the tight player wants to call this guy down. You know, if we look him up, as it were. Now, Slick's probably not afraid of quads. M. Santee. Okay, so M. Santee's terrible. You can just see that. You know, Slick had not played a hand the whole time. He finally bet under the gun, and he had a top 10 hand. That should have been really obvious to anybody who's, you know, decent at poker. Now, Oaz is pretty good. This is a pretty easy fold, but we're gonna call just for just to make a bad move, I guess. I really don't know why we're calling, because we should have folded that. But we've picked up the nut flush draw, and we're gonna be calling a bet probably and seeing if we can't get some of these other guys to come along. Alright, we picked up a straight draw. And he's checked to us, so we might get a fold here. Alright, we're just going to check this behind. Now, if the flush had come, we might have stacked that guy. So that was pretty good. He had King Jack. That's not a very good hand to raise with from his position. We'll have to remember that. And the reason I didn't bet the ace on the river is because it's very unlikely for him to call with just one pair lower than an ace. It's very hard to get value when your opponent has nothing. So I feel like betting there is just a negative equity move. I feel like I'm going to lose my bet more often than I'm going to win a bet there. So just by checking behind, you know, I see what he has. Now, of course, if I had a more powerful hand than one pair, if I had, you know, the flush, you can better believe I'd be betting, you know, or a straight. I think a straight was possible there. Of course, I would have had what they call the dumb end of the straight, or the loser's end, the low end. But I probably still would have bet, because the odds that he raises pre-flop and has a 6 in his hand are pretty low. I mean, there's only 2 hands that he likely to have, you know, pocket 6s and ace 6, and he's really not likely to bet either of those. He'll probably just limp those. Alright, so enough analysis. Let's go ahead and watch what these guys do. So M. Santee bet, Slick called him. I'm guessing Slick has a beat on this guy, knows he's bad. That looked like a bluff to me, like Santee's low on chips, and Slick just wanted to see if he could get him to fold for a min bet. Okay. And Santee called with nothing out of spite. The guy's terrible. I mean, it's too bad he doesn't have any chips, because, you know, he's just going to give them away to somebody. And we're going to go ahead and make some notes here. Just going to put pretty good on this guy. And we're going to see seems solid and terrible. And this way, oh, well, it disappeared. This way, if we play these guys again, we'll have a little information on them. We'll remember who they are. Hey guys, I just got out of bed. I'm drinking my Soylent shake, playing a little poker. But I'm not quite 100% awake yet. A7, big raise, fold. Even though it's suited, it's, you know, it's just a pretty hand. It doesn't really have any real power. We're going to limp and see if this guy tries to protect his big blind by raising, which he didn't, which I expected. And we're going to check back. And what we're doing here is we're building image. You know, people might not pay any attention to it, but for 15 chips, we saw 4 cards with an ace, and we played low ball with Slick. So in the future, now, if I try to bluff him, I'll have a slightly higher chance of success. People, that might sound wrong to you guys, but I believe it's true. You know, from my experience, those slight psychological factors do make a lot of difference. So King 5 suited, even from the button, we're not calling a raise there. It's just, you know, it gets crushed by every other king. Every pocket pair is taking a, you know, a bath in equity wise. Just can't hold up. I think this is my first poker video, so I'm finding it a little bit hard to concentrate 100% and watch what these guys are doing. I need to work on that a little bit because I'm realizing I don't really have much information on this Marine guy. I see he likes to lowball with these min bets, and he'll probably throw it at like a half pot bet here. No, he's been on full pot. I find that guys like this basically have no idea what they're doing. But, you know, obviously if they get lucky and have the best hand a lot, then they can you know, do okay. But okay, pocket threes. We're just gonna speculate. I'm not gonna raise because I don't really want to see a flop in a raised pot with this, especially when I might be out of position to these two guys. And so this flop was not very good for us. We don't really want to see a 6 because, you know, we're still probably not going to have the best hand given all the random hands that are in here. And I'm guessing this guy is something like, you know, Ace 5, maybe King 8, you know, is a possibility. Something like that. 7, 8. Either way, it's hard to play back with just a pair of threes, you know. Okay, so this guy min raised. This is a terrible move. He's making a horrible mistake here, and unfortunately, we can't punish him. You know, on this street. Not on this street either. But eventually that guy's going to get punished for making crappy moves like that. He's not getting any fold equity for his bet, and he might get re-raised and have to lose his bet. Even if he has pocket aces, his bet's too small to get proper value. So by making such a small bet, you know, we can just categorically say that this guy is bad at poker. He doesn't understand how to get value from his hands, or what he's doing at all, really. So he probably had the best hand. He makes a lot of bets. You know, he's doing good, number 1 on the table, but like I said, it's obvious he has no clue. And that's not to say that he, you know, doesn't know the rules of the game. I'm sure he's played quite a bit, and he's got lots of little tricks and things. Okay, so Slick is protecting his blinds here, and believe it or not, we're going to go ahead and give it to him. Once again, it's a psychological thing. I'm not invested in my hand, and I want him to think that when I do play a hand, that it's a good hand. This is a pretty easy fold. Even if the 7-8 was suited, I don't really think it's worth the investment to see a flop. Especially with people to act behind who might re-raise. Um, Soylent is pretty bland, not very good. I'm gonna do a review on Soylent soon. I just got it yesterday. So, alright, what's going on in this hand here? You got three guys on the river. Very strange. Big bet coming out by Squish. Now we have Squish here as a solid player. Okay, so Oaze here almost certainly nailed the flush, and Squish probably had two pair or a set and was trying to get value. But what's he trying to get value from? You know, that would be a good question. What does he think? Who does he think is gonna call if, let's say, he had three jacks there? You know, he's losing to straights and flushes. I think there was a straight on the board. I kind of forget, but and nobody really showed the strength of having an underset or anything along those lines. So probably a bad play by him. Okay, so we're getting 2-1. Slick will probably call behind. Let's do it. I mean, this guy's got money to burn. If we hit our set, we're going to be in pretty good position, you know. Alright, we're just going to bow out. Even though this guy's making a stupid bet, it's too small. If this was a cash game, I'd probably call, you know. Because I've got implied odds, I believe. But because this is a tournament, double up tournament, we're just going to fold. No big deal, you know. We lost a couple hundred chips, but we speculated, and I do believe that if we hit a 5, we would have made, you know, we would have made enough chips to justify our initial call. I do believe we had implied odds. Okay, so clearly we would have gotten stacked if we'd hit our 5, but I think that proves my point. He had aces. Usually he's not going to hit a set of aces, and if we'd had a set of 5s, he's probably not going to be able to fold his aces. So it's all good in the hood. Probably shouldn't have folded to that tiny bet, but what the heck. You know, the odds of getting a 3 on the turn are very low, and I'm really not that worried about it, you know. To be good at poker, you gotta let stuff roll off your back. So the fact that the 3 came down, and also look at that, he's only got a pair of 9s with a deuce kicker. It's not very likely that he was going to pay me off, you know. So he had me beat, right? I'm not getting pot odds on a call with those 3s there. You know, I'm just not, because the odds of getting a 3 in that situation are about 4% or 8% if you count the river as well, but I have to call a second bet to get to the river. So yeah, 4% for whatever his bet was is probably like 10% of the pot. My odds just weren't there, and the implied odds probably weren't there either. So I think if you did the math on paper there, you'd find out I'm right. And this is poker, you know. I don't have, you can see, I don't have any HUD. I don't have, you know, any kind of stats up on my other monitor, just my broadcasting software. Nothing like that. You know, we're just going with our instinct. We've studied the game, and you know, we know a lot of stats and math, poker math, and we got to go with our instinct. So, like I was saying earlier, you got to let things go off your back. You got to learn to go with your instinct. You can't second guess yourself. You know, you got to try to play the best that you can play, emotionally, intellectually. So let's get back in the game. See, Slick's re-raising Marine. Marine's folding. We gotta make a note of that. Marine will fold after he makes those stupid probe bets, you know. Queen 10 under the gun's not good enough. A lot of bad players to play that hand here. It's just not good enough. You know, there's no real point in playing it. The only real good hand you can make there is like a straight, and how often does that happen? You know, I'd rather have, you know, Queen Jack or Queen King or 10 Jack than Queen 10. You know. And with these guys raising, I would not have been happy. I would have probably had to fold and wasted another bet. So all these medium strength hands that have folded, all the ace sevens and, you know, Queen 10s, if I had played all of those, I'd probably be down to about 900 chips now. You know, those little bets, they add up. And if I ever double up on somebody, you know, I'll be at 2400, whereas I would be at 1800 in the other scenario that I described. So these little bets, they add up. You know, doesn't mean pinch all your pennies, because you do have to take risks to get rewards. But it does mean make good pre-flop choices at the very least. You know, don't put money in out of position with medium strength hands, basically. That becomes pretty obvious the more we play. Alright, you can call here. I mean, you're getting 5 to 1, and there's no reason to think that these guys have anything. Okay, so Slick is going to raise and defend his blind. Now, at this point, he may be doing this just because I've folded so many times, but that's okay too. You know, when I get a good hand, I may limp in on him and see if he raises me. Now, he potted it up. He's implying that he has ace 10 or queens, possibly jacks, although I doubt it. Kings. And kings held. Marine played that rather horribly. We're going to make a note on this guy that he is not good. You know. And we're going to limp here. We're getting pot odds. Okay, and now we're just going to check here. So this guy Marine, he sucks, you know. I hope he doesn't have a jack, but if he does, no, that's lame. But we're just trying to see a cheap... Okay, so this is bad. This guy's Slick, you know. I wonder what he has. Does he have a jack? Here's the thing, guys. Let's check our player notes. Pretty good. Meaning that guy's simply not bluffing there. You know what I mean? He's not going to bluff. I don't believe. Okay. So we're going to limp here. We should raise. I know people are probably having conniptions right now because I folded that ace 6. Thing is, I can't beat any other aces except for ace 3, ace 4, and ace 5. You know, I'm splitting with ace 7 and ace deuce, but with him betting like that into a pot, he's making a big bet into a pot. You know, it's unlikely that he has... Alright, we can't let this guy boss us around forever, guys. You know, Jack 10's a pretty good hand to hit something on him. We're going to fold. I do believe he had a better ace or a jack. You know, there's no reason to think that he was bluffing there. Why would he stick around unless he was planning on sticking around just to bluff the river? Which would be a pretty sick move, you know, but it's just unlikely. If he really is that good, then he would notice that I haven't played many turns, you know, I haven't played past the flop. So I think he was trapping me. I think he had a read on me. I think he knew I had a weak ace, and that he was trying to extract value. Frankly, you know, I think I made the right fold. So, so there you go. Our chips are getting so low that we don't want to call a strong looking bet like that. If one or two other people had entered the pot, I probably would have on pot odds alone. But we're trying to get like 142 here. You know, something that looks kind of menacing. You know, and if we pick up the blinds, that's fine. Alright, so after this guy has checked twice, I believe he has a draw, and I do believe we're ahead. We'll be snapping off any bets here on the river. He was bluffing, so I was right. He didn't have a draw, but he just had nothing. You know, he called with nothing. Let's check our notes here. Not good. Called with nothing, our notes held up. And he tried a small bet on the river. Good players call a small bet on the river a post-oak bluff. I think that Doyle Brunson might have coined that term in the Super System, a book he wrote in the 70s. Bad players call that just taking a shot at the pot because I checked twice, you know. But I would have called even without the 9. A lot of bad players would have re-raised after hitting the 9. The thing is, you're not going to get called by anything that you can beat, really. So you just, you know, it's one of the hardest lessons in poker is knowing when not to re-raise, because re-raising is great. It's where you make a lot of your chips. It's also where you lose a lot, you know. So this is an interesting spot. I would be willing to bet that I'm ahead of this guy with just my queen high, but I'm not willing to bet, you know, on this tournament. I'm trying to win, you know, $25. But if I could bet $1 against that guy just to see what he had and see if a queen was ahead of him, I would. I'd bet $1 on that because this guy is just an idiot. You know, he sees two people check, and he bets. He probably thinks that everybody here is terrible at poker. King 9, not good enough, guys. I don't have any notes on this as a guy. He's raising under the gun. The last time he raised and I called him, he had King Jack. So King 9 is just simply, it's behind his range. And even though a king came up here, and he could have any number of hands that a pair of kings is beating, we're behind his range. We're out of position. Even though we were getting better pot odds because we were in the small blind, it's not worth a call mathematically. You know, you can't look at that hand and go, "Oh, a king came down. We should have called." You have to think about the full spectrum of possibilities, and did you make the right decision based on the information that you had? You know. Okay, so this is a really tough spot. Let's see what we have on this guy. He seems solid. He's betting. This sucks for us because he could easily have ace king or ace queen. This is a great spot to bluff, guys. Unfortunately, these idiots will probably call you down with like something stupid. So this guy's probably got like pocket 9s. Would be what I'd put him on. Pocket 9s, pocket 10s. You know, and we're just gonna bow out. We didn't hit the board very hard. You know, we got 2 backdoors, a backdoor flush draw and a backdoor straight draw. It sucks. We've got 2 overcards. They might not even be good. He might be betting his ace king again. If that is what he had, ace king or ace queen, he might have just semi bet. He might have had a flush draw. We might have been very low in equity there. So calling, chasing with just a king high is basically not doable. We'd have to have a lot more information on that guy to start thinking about crazy moves like that. This is an interesting hand. I would love to see what these guys have, but I think Slick's gonna bow out. I'm pretty sure he was on he might have had 6-7 or flush draw, or even Jack 10, something like that. No reason to try to bluff these guys. No reason to get desperate. If you'll notice, everybody else has been getting good hands. We've seen kings, we've seen straights and shit like that. Not me. That's poker sometimes. I'm really not that worried. I still believe I can win this, even though it's unlikely that I will. I still have faith and confidence, and I'm just not that worried. If I lose, I lose. You can't win them all, and you have to lose to win in poker. It sounds stupid, but it's true. The best guys in the world, the guys that make the most money, they have losing sessions, all the time. The goal is to win more when you win than you lose when you lose, not to win every time. So, got to keep that in mind. I will say this. This table is stronger than the tables that I usually play on. I don't know if it's because it's the morning and these guys don't have jobs. I work at night, so I have to go into work tonight. These guys might be European, I don't know. But if you're from Europe, why would you play on this site? I hate to fold here just because I'm getting so low and I don't want to get picked on, but I gotta fold. But yeah, this table is pretty strong. I hate to think I'm the weakest player on it. Now I'll be shoving here. I'm looking for folds. I don't want to get called and find out this guy has king, queen exactly. So hold. Yes. Okay, so that was a horrible call by him. King queen is not that strong against an all-in. I have not made a move the entire game, so there's no reason for him to think. Okay, so no, this is a good spot actually, because queen 10 is a good middling hand. If these guys don't have anything, folding is probably the right move here, but I might pick up a big pot because this guy will probably call to speculate, you see. Bam. And now I'm going to get the checks. Alright, now I'm going to check it one more time, and I'm going to try to get my value here on the river. Just make a small bet. Okay, so see, that guy had nothing. He was on tilt and he shoved with Jack 4. Maybe he thought that was the best hand he would get before the blinds hit him. Maybe shoving with Jack 4 was the right move actually. But Queen 10 is ahead of that kind of situation. And these guys, they want to see him get knocked out. You know what I mean? They don't want to bully me off the hand. They're going to want to check it down, which means I'm going to get the free cards with my drawing hand. And so that situation just worked out perfectly. And now we're right back in the mix, nobody can really bully us because this guy, he's already basically won this. If he plays smart and doesn't get cooler or sucked out on, he's going to win 25 bucks, These guys, if they try to bully me and they're wrong, they're going to be crippled. They're going to lose, not just the hand, but probably the whole tournament. So they have to give me a little respect now, because, shoot, if this guy loses 1,500 chips, 1450, he's going to be left like 300 chips, he's going to be completely crippled. And the same with this guy, if he loses 1,500 chips or whatever, he'll be crippled. And see right here, we saw a guy play Deuce 9 suited earlier. It was actually, I think it was Squish, but I don't think it was to a raise. And so the fact that I missed out on my flush, my pair draw, big draw, who cares? You know what I mean? You got to get into this attitude of just, it doesn't matter. Hands come and go. You might fold 10 winning hands in a row. Now, I would have coolered that guy. He would have had a nut straight, and I would have had a flush. So, but still, it just don't matter, And we try to hide our hand strength by making these kind of bets that are a little bit bigger. And all right, we're definitely going to c-bet here, because it looks like we have like 9s or something, and we have a backdoor flush draw. We've got 2 overs. You got to c-bet there. I mean, the odds that guy picked up a pair of 7s or something are pretty low. He probably had a hand like, Jack 8 suited, or just some kind of crap. He might have had a weak ace and doesn't know how to fold them. But it's very unlikely that he had any kind of hand that we couldn't suck out on, first of all. And second of all, we're probably ahead with a king high, a bunch of junk, cards on the board. So, and the c-bet worked. C-bets usually work, especially when you have an image like mine, where I just seem weak. I seem like I'm just playing my hand. I give it up. People raise me, and I always give it up. And I'm not bullying anybody. I'm not bluffing anybody. Not yet. There's no reason for these guys to think I don't have it. Okay, so I'm guessing this guy has like pocket 5s with a 5 of spades. I don't think that he really has anything. I mean, he limped in. I think he might have a big spade, So what do my notes on this guy say? Pretty good. Okay, so yeah, he had a big spade, I'm guessing. I can't see what he had. But we called him down with a pair of 6s. Easy. Easy call, because he limped in. He limped in, and then he called a bet. It just looked so weak, it's... Alright, so... I'm going to pressure this guy, because we've got a good hand. We're pressuring this guy, Now we've nailed our hand, so we just check and let him put the money in. That's it, guys. We won 25 bucks. Now the game doesn't end right away. People are just gonna go all in now, but we've all won. See, we'll check the lobby. 1 up. Prizes. First, second, and third all get 50 bucks. So. It's funny, this guy had aces. So, anyway. Yeah, it's over. We won. It's strange that these guys didn't just go all in. See, he has deuce 3 and 7 too. strange that this guy folded. He might have had it on auto fold or not even realize what's going on. But it doesn't matter anymore. So, alright guys, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or you want to criticize my plays, feel free. If I think that you have an interesting point, we can discuss it. And if you want to do some calculations and prove me wrong, that'd be great. I love reading that stuff. I love finding out where I'm wrong and improving my game. And hopefully this helps some of you guys see, how I play. I don't know if I'm 100% right all the time, but I think I'm doing pretty good. And I know a video like this where I just talk through my thoughts would have helped me out in the years where I was trying to get better. So hopefully it helped you guys. All right, No Shots signing off.